is 10:11 right back here on this Monday in the heart of the Riverbend. That's downtown Alton on this 27th day of February. And joining us now is Jeff Pitts with Trail Life. This is a really great organization with an awesome trivia night coming up this Saturday. Jeff, how are we?
Hey, pretty good. How are you doing, CJ?
Oh, we are hanging in there and getting the week started on the right foot. And I'm really excited to talk about this. So really quick, if you could, for all of us that are still kind of learning, can you give us a brief overview of exactly what Trail Life is all about?
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate you inviting me on to kind of talk about this. Trail Life is a fairly new organization, but they're growing pretty fast. We have had a troop at our church in Fairview Heights for a couple of years now, but I've been involved with Trail Life maybe 6, 7 years. So I've got 4 sons, and Trail Life in general, it is a premier national character development organization for young men. Their mission is to guide generations of courageous young men to honor God and lead with integrity, serve others, and then experience outdoor adventure. And my kids just love it.
That sounds really cool. And how many chapters are around this area?
So directly in the Metro East, there are 3 troops. There's one up, the farthest one up north, just in the Metro East, is Maryville, and then there's one in Fairview Heights, which is ours, and then there's another one over in Shiloh. Across the U.S., there's actually 990 troops with about 47,000 members, and they're in all 50 states. So we've had like families that come in with military and they do Trail Life with us for a couple of years, and then they've gone to Alaska, and they've just met up with a troop out there and kept going.
That's incredible. And now this trivia night on the 4th of March here this Saturday is going to raise money for the trailmen to go to summer camp and on High Adventures. Can you take us through a little bit more about just exactly what that looks like?
Yeah, so as far as a troop goes, we meet every Monday and we do like skills learning. The younger kids, K through 5, 5th grade, have 7 branches that they go through, things like life skills, outdoor camping, and they just learn like actually being able to physically do things, knot tying and how to pitch a tent, things like that. The older boys get more advanced in kind of what they do, and then a lot of it is learning to like mentor, and so they are learning how to teach these things and how to do more advanced outdoor activities. As a troop, we do 4 campouts a year, and so it's been awesome. We see like this fall, I had dads that have never been camping in their life. We helped them pitch a tent with their little like 1st grader, and they just had a blast, getting outside. Right. But this summer, what we have is there's an Illinois summer camp that's a week long. They have horseback riding. I know last year they were flying planes, and they do climbing, all kinds of stuff like that. That's one of the camps. Trail Life also does this thing called High Adventures, where you kind of get out and you do bigger things. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take a group of young men to the Boundary Waters in Wisconsin and get them out canoeing, fishing, things like that. So really cool stuff.
That is awesome. And I think it's so cool because, there's different components of it that is a little bit different than what we're kind of used to hearing about. And I think it teaches not only just some of those skills, but also things that those children are going to take with them for forever, and those life skills that can't be taught really in other environments.
Absolutely. And yeah, I've seen now that it's kind of developing and maturing at our church, we're seeing some of the young men that started out, when they were in Woodland Trails, and they were in those 1st grades, and now they're in high school and they're like 1st officer, 2nd officer. They're leading things. They're helping organize activities. Like for this trivia night, all the table runners and kind of a lot of the things that are going on that night are actually run by what's called the adventurers, which is the high school age, and so they're like at tonight's troop meeting, they'll be recruiting the young men that are going to be there, kind of organizing them into groups. So lots of good life skills, lots of good leadership training. real life leadership training.
Absolutely. And what I think is great, and we're going to segue, I mean, you segued this perfectly into the March 4th event. Over there at 5100 North Illinois Street in Fairview Heights, doors opening at 6 and the contest or trivia night beginning at 6:30. But this is really cool. I'm on your trivia page now on the website, and I love this. So you can put a team together. We're coming as an individual, but the best part is you guys are offering childcare during this.
Yeah. If you've got little kids and you just want to kind of like a night out, it's $5 a kid. We just need kind of a heads up, like, hey, we're bringing a couple kids, and so we have snacks and activities set for them. But yeah, it's I mean, $100 for a table of 8. It's less than the price of going out to the movies, and you can bring snacks to eat there at the table, and just kind of a really fun night. We're really excited about it.
And are you guys still looking for more participants in this? If we had some listeners today that thought, yeah, I want to try that out, is that available? Or are we looking at this point for, maybe some event sponsorships?
Both are still open at this point. Definitely, there's some limited space. So if they go to that website, if they go to the church website, edgemontbiblechurch.org, there's a link there for trivia, and they can go and sign up right there. Or if they call the office, they can get kind of in touch with us and plan that out. But definitely sponsors. We've had a lot of good sponsors. There's opportunities for just sponsoring the event in general. And we're going to talk about kind of who in the community has been supporting us. We've had some really good support from some local businesses and individuals. And but then there's also some opportunities to like sponsor around and get a little bit more in terms of kind of what the business is about. But definitely an opportunity to kind of build the community in our area.
Without a doubt. And, because I'm nosy, I got to ask you, because I'm seeing that there's going to be a silent auction and being available to bid throughout the entire trivia night. Plus, I just think it's cool you guys are throwing mulligans in as well. But take us through what some of that silent auction looks like. Were these kind of baskets that you guys put together that were donated, and what can we be bidding on?
Yeah, so there'll be several different things to bid on. The really cool thing about the silent auction is that we're trying to make sure that as much money goes to the the trailmen as possible. So, if they're wanting to go to summer camp and they have like a business that donated, 2 tickets or something like that, and so they'll put their name on that basket or those tickets, and so you'll see kind of where that silent auction money is going, and that money goes straight to them in order to pay for that summer camp. So that's kind of how we're doing that piece of it.
That's really cool, and I just think it's really exciting. Now, if you could, just because I know people are going to be curious about this as well, what type of trivia are we talking here? Because you might have mentioned it a bit, but I want to kind of circle back to that, because that's always a fascinating topic in itself. Are we going to do more of are there categories, or is it kind of all within the same realm of a certain industry or topic?
Yeah, so it'll be it's not all in one area. So there'll be a good spread out set of trivia. There definitely is going to be a little bit about like outdoors types of things, and but that definitely not totally that. The person that we have that's picking, we don't put out what topics it is ahead of time, because we don't want people Googling stuff on the way in. But he does an awesome job of picking just relevant things. There'll probably be some current event type stuff, and like I said, some outdoors relevant things. Also, we're really excited. So we're in Edgemont Bible Church. There's a pastor and his wife across the road that have just kind of retired. Pastor Hal and Pam Santos. They're going to be our MCs. They're super exciting to have them with us. So it's overall, I'm just really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think is great, and we'll circle back and wrap up with the trivia night, happenings again. But I really kind of want to just focus on real quick, if you could, a couple of minutes of just trail life and your experience with the organization. As a whole, I think this is something that's very rewarding, and that church-based, Christ-centered, mentoring and disciplinary discipleship journey. Take us through. So, with your participation in this and just your experience, how have you seen, your children kind of develop with this program?
Yeah. So like I said, I've got 4 boys kind of ranging from ninth grade down to fourth grade, third grade, fourth grade. And so they're in all those different parts of the program. The way that the program works is from kindergarten through fifth grade, it's Woodland Trails. They're kind of split up into 3 sets of 2 years.
Mhm.
And what they do is they do these thing called branches. There's 7 branches in the program, and each one it's more participation based. Like you kind of show up on Monday night, you go through a lesson, and it's on a 2-year rotation. But they're learning cool things that they can do. At the end of last year, we actually did an awesome thing with our full troop camp out, where a bunch of the dads and leaders set up like booths, and I want to say we had about 10 booths at the camp, and the trailmen like went around to each booth, and they had to like kind of quiz on things that they had learned that year, and they got prizes for doing better and things like that. And then once they hit 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they're called navigators. They're more starting to be organized into patrols. So we have like patrol leader voting, and they get elected, and then they're kind of more on their own. And that's when we get into kind of like more backpacking. Last June we did an 18-mile down by Giant City in Southern Illinois. Just kind of walking alongside of them, kind of holding their hand, but helping them, grow and physically and maturing. And then by the time they're adventurers, it's kind of self-paced. They're kind of running things. If they don't necessarily have to be there on Monday night, they could decide they want to, do bow shooting, and they could go somewhere else on Monday nights. But they're more in control of it. They're also doing a lot more leading within the troop. So we have them doing the opening ceremony, not necessarily them doing it, but like picking Woodland Trails or navigators to come up and lead and things like that. And so it's really about helping them mature, grow, do bigger things, be leaders.
That's incredible. I really think that it's really fascinating. And I've seen so many great things, and just kind of doing my little bit of digging before I talk to you today. It's endorsed by so many, world renowned figures that, have nothing but the best to say about the structure of the programs and how it's, helped, maybe their sons and, maybe just their relatives or friends of kids of their friends too. Because I'm on their website now, whether it's, endorsements from a Mike Huckabee all the way down to, Franklin Graham is the CEO of Samaritan's Purse. I mean, this is a really great program that we need to learn more about. And once again, Jeff, I really appreciate you hopping on and talking with me for about 15 minutes. Once again, can you take us through the trivia night on March 4th and just give us a brief overview again? And hopefully we get some folks right down here and Alton up to your guys' way.
Yeah, trivia night. If you go on the website, it'd be awesome if you sign up ahead of time so we have an idea of how many people are coming. But if even individuals walking in through the door can pay just $15, and we'll kind of assign you to a table if you don't have 8 people that you want to put a table together. And then we start right at 6:30. We'll have mulligans. What mulligans are is you pay $10 and you get like a little sticker, and we're doing 8 rounds of 8. So each time you get 8 questions, and as they're reading through them, if there's one that you absolutely know you don't know, then you put like your little mulligan sticker on there. So it kind of gives you a buy for that. And but like I said, 8 rounds of 8. So we should be out of there by 8:30. It'll be a fun time. People get a lot of fellowship. Like I said, bring snacks and drinks for your table, and you can share, kind of like a mini potluck. And there'll be some good rivalry kind of going on, and just kind of an exciting night.
One last question for you. How many mulligans can you buy?
You can only have one mulligan per round. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. And anytime you want to come back on and talk about, things coming down the line, I think trail life is fantastic. And I hope everything goes well on March 4th for the trivia night up in Fairview Heights.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
No problem. At 10:26 on this 27th day of February, we got to take a quick break because we're talking to a really great business, a brand new one that you guys are learning more and more about. It's called Bubble Kitties Cat Grooming, a place just for the kittens in your life. Instead of bringing the dogs and getting them scared, we find out all the details next, right after this one.